Hi, everyone. My name is Leslie Onnstad. Good morning. I'm the creator of Color Art Products. I'm your host of ColorPlay Live. It is a Saturday morning, and whoosh, a lot's happened in the last week since we had our watch party last week. Suddenly, I made my plate full again. I have a tendency to give myself more homework as time goes on. I see John is here, Sean McCabe is here, Donna Harrington is here. Trying to look at people's comments to say hi, hi. There looks like we got 5 people watching so far. So hello, everybody. A couple more people came in. Um, Last night slash this morning, we began choosing the channel prize winners. Our affiliates and we picked our channel prize winner. We also had the grand prize winner. And I found the cutest little thing that I could spin and actually send a messenger. I sent it to a few people where you actually push the thing and it spins around and the name of the $400 prize winner pops up. I wish there was some way to put that up on the website. But the grand prize winner of the $400 shopping spree is Linda Young from New York. The winner is Linda Young from New York. And she's bought a lot of product from us over the years. She also teaches at some art place in New York. So they buy some of our products to teach. And I was surprised. I just, I can't look at the names. I just do what I do is I enter all the email addresses in a list and let it just pick it for me because I know too many of you guys' email addresses. Okay. As far as channel prize winners so far, I know that Sally's got an order pending, and good morning, Andrea. How are you doing, honey? She wanted to know if she had won anything because she's got a big order pending. She wants to get some stuff in before we start shutting down those sets as we get towards Halloween. The primary element sets you might find on the 27th, 28th. Suddenly it shows it's out of stock. That means that there'll probably be 9 colors we have, but 3 colors we're not going to make. That's when we're going to bulk pack those out, as I discussed in the last video, into the 2-ounce jars. And I'm going towards basically 1.5 times the price. So a 30 ml jar is $12.50. So one of these 60 mils and completely full. It's not by weight. We go by volume because you don't mix your paint by volume. So why are we selling? I mean, you don't mix your paint by weight. You mix your paint by volume. By volume means you're taking a spoon, 1/8 of a teaspoon is mixing by volume. You're not putting it on a scale. So $12.50 and 6 1/4 would be what, $18.75 for the biggies. And then as also announced, as that time comes, we're going to start as soon as these jars show up. We're going to start bulk packing out the minerals, the golds, the coppers, the bronzes, and some of the micas over the years I bought to add a little smattering of blue or peach to something. I'm a purist. I really like using the interference more than anything, but a little smatter of blue or a little peach or rose here just adds a little essence to your color combination when you're mixing it. So, okay, so the winners list, we're still mixing 4 people for comment winners. Joni Smith went on my channel. Andrea Ray's name was picked on Lance Travis's channel. Hi, Sherry. How you doing, sweetheart? Good morning. Busby 1251, Busby with only one Z. Good morning, Kate. On Tina Sacco's channel. TSR Creations is the name of her channel. Luna Sky, Linda Young 2826. We may need to repick that because if it's the same Linda Young, you can't win the $400 shopping spree and the channel prize. So there may be a 5th name we still have to pick. On Sheldon's channel, good morning, Sonia. Deborah Elk 64041 on Laura Houston's channel. And boy, it looks Italian. Bestorisi 10411 on Taslima's channel. JSN Design Art 1. On Priscilla Betzel's chance, Colette Hymas 1. Kate Fanning, ding, 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 ding. I know she's right here. You won a $50 prize on Loida Fajardo's, plus you get your $15 for submitting the secret phrase. Everybody who submitted the secret phrase It's going to take me quite a bit of time this weekend, so I'm going to do a video today, of course, but I may not to be on as long as normal. But I've got to get all the store credits for everybody, because anybody who entered the secret phrase thing, we always, it's just a standard, we give you $15. Usually it's a coupon code. Now we can just give you a store credit. Amy Johnson, Don Miller, 68991, and on Mandy Roca's channel, Jen Fire 7411. Now there'll be 5 more names drawn. If I'm right that Linda Young 2826 is the same Linda Young, I'm probably going to call her back and verify that. And Luna can pick another name from her channel. There'll be 5 more names, and it'll be announced up on the website on Monday, but since we're here on Saturday morning and everything was just chosen, so why not, right? Let's play. It's always nice to know who won the winners list. All right, so I had a long talk with this artist out of San Francisco yesterday. Are you one of them, Andrea? There isn't there an Andrea here? Or you're gonna be one of them? Could be. A lot of you guys have been channel winners before and got your prison pour set. This time you just get $50 to spend. It's a lot faster just to give it to you. But those names that I mentioned, if you do not have an account, I need you to go in and just create a login and password. I can't give you credit if you don't exist on our website. The people with the secret phase, you're giving me an email address anyway, so I could actually create an account for you with a login and password. Good morning, Evelyn Warner. How are you doing, sweetheart? I could create a login and password for the $15 people, but I don't have anybody's email addresses on these YouTube winners. So you got to get a hold of me. John, if you're here, and I know you are, I hate to keep asking you if you wouldn't mind posting my email address up. It is leslieonstead.arte@gmail.com. You can also text me at 559-326-8718. We really want to get everybody their goodies. So far as the plan of the buildings, we're trying to shut down building 108. That's one of our buildings. Literally hand the keys over on November 1st. And more than likely, good morning, Renee. We're going to end up in the other building for a couple more weeks past that time to get all these bulk items packed. Some people are going to want to take advantage of the bulk items. I know that Fairy Art Mother went gaga when I showed this beautiful ultra super gold on camera. She says, please, please save me some. So yeah, this stuff is really, really pretty. I use the minerals just to, again, to enhance the blends and make it pretty. Well, good morning, Cindy. So what are we going to do today? So I did a little test this morning. Boy, I have so many ideas for this piece. The Rinske Douna technique that I was, Sally, how you doing, sweetheart? I just announced the $50 winners list. You're not part of it yet. Who actually won something for well, you probably won the gifts from the drawing, Andrea. I announced that in the very beginning. I still have to match you guys up. As long as you got a login and password, I can connect the dots with and teach you how to place an order and then give your code in there in the shipper's box. So good thing you brought that up. So on last weekend's events, I've already posted in the description the winners that I drew from both those events. So it's in writing right up there on the Saturday party and the Sunday party. If your name is there, there's a code. You can place an order for any little old thing. And in the shipper's box, right, which is right underneath where you put your shipping address, there's a note box to the shipper, right? So you go in there, hi, I won the watch party. My code is 1013-9. Bam. The shipper's also going to have a list of what was won, right? Other than there's some that are just marked gift, because we're going to pick something special for the people that did the 4 blues. Well, good morning, Penny. Nice to see you, sweetheart. Haven't seen you in a little while. So, yeah, the winner's gift thing, the winners from last week, they are posted on the lives last weekend. So we can kind of connect the dots because I know that Terry's already placed an order. Joni's already placed an order. There's a few people that already placed orders and just said, add it to it. Thank you, Evelyn. Evelyn posted my email address. That's a place to reach me once you've created an account so we can give you credit for everything that you've done. So last couple times, that's the perfect address, Evelyn. Thank you so much. The last time we were experimenting, and I know this acts as a binder, but how much of a binder? So I still need to look this up, but this looks like a little 6 or 8 inch jar. I got a case of these, like for canning and something. And it was about filled up to here. I know I'll get a more perfect measurement for you. And I only added 1 teaspoon of Vivid Art Fluid as my binder. And in the tests, we were able, I'm going to show you the test canvas first, how it turned out. Of course, this is the one side that I felt had the, oh, wait a minute. This is the side that I felt I had the 2 perfect camel humps. And while they're not perfect camel humps, but it's interesting how the primer elements, well, I just read out the list of 10 of the winners, Penny. The rest of them haven't been drawn yet. So you can go back and watch that replay, sweetheart. And then it'll be posted up on the website on Monday. So what I did is we were experimenting with the concept of, will it bind it? Yes, it does. It does not rub off, okay? Yet it still gives you that real feathery look as if it was done with a watercolor. But what's interesting is the color really doesn't lift up that much. If the primary elements had been mixed in food grade gum arabic, I'd be able, you know, like our twinkling H2Os, I'd be able to redistribute that paint. And yet when I took just water this morning, rubbing it over there, not much of this color is lifting or moving, right? Thank you, Andrea. This is my experiment. This one had more of the camel humps. And then we experimented. This was done with me trying to do it with purely pigments and mix the colors, and it got way too much red. Right, I know. And then this was me playing with the other side using primary elements. See how pretty that purple turned out using periwinkle, the Padparassha. That's that corally color that, by the way, Padparassha is actually the name of a sapphire. And you are correct. This was still moist. That's the tricky part, is you really got to let it dry in between each section. And the custom brown that I made bled up. Now this brown was made out of nutmeg, warm caramel, and spicy apricot. I wanted to start with a drier brown first and warm it up. When on this side I had used the, you may not really notice the difference that much. I had used desert clay, and my peach came out a lot of red. And so I wanted some more differentiation. I wanted this a little bit more orange. I wanted to actually see the, I know I keep turning it back and forth, so I'm going to make you guys dizzy. I really wanted to see a little more distinguished between that violet and that coral color. Okay. One other thing to show you, and people have been asking me about it. If I can get this, I'm bending over to get this sucker. Come on. These thin little canvases are hard to pick up. Oh, darn. Hang on a minute. I'm trying not to show the big one underneath. Yeah, you can get watercolor effects with purely pigments. It'll work beautiful, but you really have to master how much to put in there to get the right color. Remember how strong they are. And the primary elements, I know exactly. I'm trying to get this canvas. It's stuck. Gosh darn it. I don't want to knock down my little backdrop. Okay. The purely pigments are so strong that even adding 1 or 2 drops of the Snapdragon, I was pretty sure I was going to go purple, but I think I had put the Fiji Violet in there, and then I used a little bit of the Desert Clay Primary Elements, which has a lot of red in it. And no matter how much Snapdragon I put in there, I couldn't get it out. Where when I picked up the Periwinkle, I know exactly what color I'm going to get when I play with that periwinkle. I'm just thinning it down and making it more watery. So that's what ended up working. So I am going to show you what happened with those plants, okay? When I got this house, I fell in love with all the plants all over the yard, and there's like a huge magnolia tree that's almost 4 stories high. There's gardenia bushes, camellias, which I can't wait for them to bloom. And I thought, oh, I use a gardenia. Well, the back of the gardenia leaf doesn't have much veining. I haven't gone out where the magnolia tree is yet. I'm hoping there's more veining on the back of that. I do have a bunch of ivy along the back wall, which almost is that cool little heart-shaped. It's almost like a maple leaf, but a little bit more of a heart shape because it's got a tip. This was a plant that's kind of a fescue. Now, I used the Twinkling H2Os thickened up, like they're in the gum Arabic. They were really creamy. And it came off, I'm pulling them off live with you guys right in front of here, stems and all, because everybody said they wanted to see what this was going to look like when it's dried. Now, after I did it and I sat down and really thought about it, why did I put the big stems on last when they really should be first? So, of course, part of this stem was missed. So when we pull up this big one, I'm just kind of getting a splattering on the top and a bit of the stem. This is a really cool effect. Obviously, I haven't perfected it with this particular plant yet, but you know me, I like to experiment. What I did is I took the Twinkling H2O pots like these, got them real juicy and stirred them so they were super creamy. Well, Renee, you're gonna have to pay for having them shipped, and they go with an order. Now you have an option to just. She asked about her gift. You have an option to log in and get one little thing. If you're actually if you're a club member, club members just go in, grab that little thing that says free sample. It'll automatically put just freight in your cart, and that's all. And we'll add the free sample from the free sample thing that you've chosen, plus the gift that you've won. You always have that option too. And if there's trouble with being able to pay the freight, I can try to help you out with that. Renee, you know how to reach me. But basically, it goes with an order. Doesn't matter how big it is. I'm seeing if I got all the plants. Wow, I did get all the plants off of this. Okay, so this is a surprise. I was really worried about what this was going to look like. What's interesting is the darker color that chestnut brown and the, I think it was autumn butternut, really did do the vase. There's no plants in here. So all this dimension that we're getting is from the paint. It is from the paint. Wow. Well, I want to see what can be done with this. Do I draw in more grass? Do I put white in between and soften it to create more dimension so my grasses move forward? This was an experiment because I had the fantasy of doing it on this landscape, these landscape pieces. My thought was, boy, I hope this camera will let me do this. And it went strange. I know. Plus, I hit a button. So my thought was, this is a 16 by 20, and it's so big, it won't let me turn the camera the other way. So I'm going to have to figure out how to let you guys see this. I could stand up and move the camera up to see if we can get a top overview here and get this camera up just a little bit for you guys. Now, this is all natural what happened. I left it alone in all these colors, that even though I took my fingers and painted them out, this is what I got. But because this had such a long base on the background, right, I wanted to put something on the bottom, whether it was wild grasses from sand dunes. Believe it or not, I've been fantasizing with, let's see if I can find the images. some cone flowers, if you know what those are. Cone flowers that have the, oh yeah, those cone flowers that have that beautiful center that points up, and then the plant, the leaves go backwards. See how much higher I can get this. There we go. So we can actually see what this looks like. Yeah, see, John already sent me a note. He placed an order and said, please attach this. And he put his code in here. Now we need to soften this up, definitely, because we've got a hard edge in here. It looks a little bit strange. We're going to play with a little bit more color in here, but what I found out is that Vivid Art fluid really binds. So it's not going to lift up and redistribute the colors as much as, who's Genfire? Hi, Genfire. If Genfire just came in, you won a $50 channel prize, if that's what you guys are saying. Yes. So I thought about doing something like this. Okay, I've already put this on another canvas. You can go to Pinterest and print out any images that you like, and then do a transfer by laying down the image on the canvas using a graphite transfer paper. Imagine this. This is just like paper that, say, pencil has been rubbed across the back. And then you draw in the design. And what I thought I might do, I've already have it prepped on this canvas. I might do the cornflower. This is literally how to draw a cornflower off of Pinterest, right? So it's got the design. You can draw this. Of course, I want this to be textured anyway, so it's 3D, okay? And then draw this butterfly that looks like it's landing on a coneflower that got a little faded out. This would not be a bad composition. I printed out the butterfly a couple different sizes. I think that one worked for that canvas. But if I was going to try to put the butterfly on this canvas, this one may be too big. But I started thinking, what can I put down here that I could add and paint in? Because Rinska's piece is beautiful. We love it the way it is. But it's okay, whatever is in there, even if it's the same number assigned, you're going to see a couple of them have the same number. Live with it, because that's exactly what the shipping department's getting, is what I put in that watch party list. So you're going to see them in the comments or the description of the watch party pages. So anyway, it's like, do I put something with a coneflower patch here and this on the bottom? Because this is more sized for my composition here. Right? This is a little bit big for this particular canvas, but I thought this might be cool for me to draw out and do in another event, right? But what are we going to do with this now? Under normal circumstances, I would have put in my image in the front, get it painted in. I'm going to bring this down. And then tighten up the background, tighten up the foreground, so all my shadows and light work for both areas of the canvas. This beautiful ethereal abstract landscape background and the foreground. If I want to do shadows, I want it to match. You don't have to go through the live, John. There is a list. If you go to the description of the Saturday party, all the winners list is there. If you go to the Sunday party, I know when he went through it, he had to listen to the whole live. You don't have to do that anymore. It's already posted there in the description. Just go look at last weekend's videos. You will see the winner code for those prizes. I tried to simplify it for you guys, so I posted it up there. So what am I going to do for today's piece? I have a lot of stuff. Yeah, Genfire, you won a $50 channel prize. And if you're not already, if you don't already have a login and password on, of course, Genfire had, it was, hang on a minute, Genfire 741. Is who won. Regular Genfire may not be you. It's Genfire 741 that actually won. So my point is, if I was going to put something in the foreground, I would put this first, paint it, and then go in and tighten up the back, tighten up the front, make all my sure my shadows and my colors match, right? But today, I'm just going to fool around with this and see if I can't warm this up. I'm going to have to move it close to me. We're going to be working in small sections. I've decided to get my watercolor brushes out. But what the big test was what we weren't sure of is, will the Vivid Art Fluid water combo, because that color, there's so little in there, will it bleed and move? Not very much. I'm getting a little bit here, right? So I'm going to see what it's going to give me first. Looks like this is working. The one on the test canvas didn't. You know what? I got it. That test canvas was made with purely pigments. This was made with the primary elements. So it looks like it is going to re-wet for us like a watercolor. How cool is that? I'm kind of liking that. I did not know this. I had tested the one side that had the camel humps. Because what I want to do is tighten up these colors. Like reintegrate a little more violet on the top of my violet. That's me? Okay. As long as you're the same person, go ahead and message us. Make sure you've got an account set up. We just need a login and password with an email address so I can assign you your prize. I can't find you. Renee, go to last weekend's event, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Open up the description, like where it says read more, like anything that I've put in there, contact us at colorart.com. You will see the winners list there. And if for some reason it didn't post, I'll repost it after this live is there, because the winners list is up there, sweetheart. Or at least I did it. I don't know if John has time to confirm it now. It's not like John works for me. He's just very, very helpful. So is Evelyn. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to take my watercolor brush, and this is Black Velvet. I'm in love with this series. It's one of the best brushes around. And even though it's a 12, don't get freaked out by the size, because that point goes down to what you would get in a normal 2. So you have a lot of freedom. The only difference between the 12 and the 2 is you can get more color load in the brush. So basically, I'm making my brush as dry as possible and just dipping it gently in this liquid that they had done. Andrew, we'll get to it. Don't sit and worry about it right now. I'll go back and look. If I literally saw you say malachite first, you're going to get credit for you. And thank you for bringing that up again, because I was trying to go back and look at everybody who felt that they had gotten missed. Now, remember, it has to be if I can see it first. It has to do with live chat and where we're at. And I can't control what I saw, but I will go back and rewatch what I've got. It should show up the same for everybody. You should be able to see the feed the same way I see the feed now, because it's fixed. If I go back and look at it, it's going to show that. But everybody's so worried about their prizes from last weekend. I'm having trouble getting on with what we're going to do here today. So I'm just kind of firming up the colors in here. I'm just dipping my brush pure into the pure periwinkle mixed with that Vivid Art Fluid, and just re-accentuating my violet back mountain. And if I wanted to go up a little bit or fix my design, this is the time to maybe get the camel hump out. Right? Now, normally, like I said, I'd like to do this after the foreground is done, so I know exactly what shadows I'm going to use. Like when you put a darker color behind these lighter colors, it makes them look dimensional and move forward. right? Now, I had someone comment to me that why was I thinking about gessoing this? You know, because the canvas already pre-gessoed. I'm very aware that Rinske Douna actually uses a raw canvas that she's stapling right to her board. But because I was putting the interference down, it needs a little tooth to grab onto. And if I was going to do a piece like this, because I planned on selling it, you know, or wanted to make sure I was doing, you know, started doing more and more of these, I might gesso it, or at the very least do a white, some kind of white background on there just to create tooth on the canvas. The bummer with gesso though, and why I'm not a big fan of it at least, you need to sand it. It works beautifully, and you never want to sand it in the same room you're going to paint, because that chalky, you sand it and then you have to wipe all that powder off. And that's the last thing you want in your paint. But professional artists pre-gesso everything, probably sand it in a separate area from where they paint, right? So I've got that glob that hardened up. Let's kind of re-wet this down here. Soften up my line. I'm going to get a little arrow in my purple area. Hey Dee, how you doing? And of course, one of the watercolor tricks when you're painting petals is you paint one petal and skip a petal, right? So if I don't put anything here, it's not going to, then the peach area, it's not going to bleed into here. But I can add another layer to this brown. I did get some Ceylon cinnamon. I kind of want to warm this up. What's too big to guess? What do you guys need to know? Evelyn, it's okay either way for me. I have no concern. What needs to be fixed, guys? Oh, about if she won something or not. Yeah, I'll go back and take a look at the feed. If it's in the feed, it's in the feed. And I thought I caught everybody in there. I thought I caught everybody in there, but maybe not. So I do want to warm up those top. The nutmeg really came through on this. It's kind of a little blah. So I'm going to take my spoons. I'm going to take a little bit of, yeah, let's paint, baby. I'm going to take some of the Ceylon cinnamon, and I don't need much. So I'm going to use this 30.32 of a teaspoon. It's called a smidge. I need a smidge, just a smidgen, all right? A smidgen. I love how they use those names. Smidgen. I'm putting a smidgen in the cup. Just a smidgen in the cup. Oh, well, gesso, yeah. Gesso's really great product. Most artists do 2 layers, and I believe they layer, sand, and layer and sand, you know, when they're doing the real pro stuff. But, oh, wow, you know what? I like what that purple's doing there. See how it's pocketing up and giving me a little thing? I think I want that right over here. I'm sorry I'm segueing from my Ceylon cinnamon, but I'm wondering, where would I make that puddle happen? I kind of want a little bit, oops, that's got a little brown on from me playing with the other things. Amazon are where I get the spoons, Renee. And the square ones are $9.99 for the 5-piece set. You can get these ones that have that oval shape, and they're $5.99. Super cheap. Yeah, I am not going to stop. The whole point of me slowing down with the actual operation is so I can do more of these. Jen Farr said she hopes I continue with these. And quite frankly, I can't, that's kind of the point. And sad story, a couple years ago, this was the plan. And Thanksgiving 2021, I was ready for the family that's been making my product. This is their 21st year, some of them, of working for me. Handed over to them. The eldest son had a great business degree, good math skills, really great management skills. He's fantastic. And the plan was to, did you just say hi, Rinske? Oh my goodness, is she in the feed? No. Who said hi, Rinske? If she's here, oh my goodness, Rinske! I love you, sweetheart. This is canvas. This is a pre-gesso canvas. And this is me attempting your effect. Oh my goodness. I need to reach out to you. Everybody's been telling me to get a hold of you about my purely pigments, but I was so turned on with this new method that you're doing. Yeah, I was talking about you all last 2 videos. Your ears must have been burning. But now I'm going in and tightening it up. The thing is, for me, just looking at a straight landscape, and I know you probably missed the beginning, I was looking for more in my foreground. So I was going to try to do sand dunes made with wild grasses. Of course, this was just a test to see what the paint looked like on the wild grass, and all that 3D, that's all paint. Yep, that's all paint. Or a cone flower in the beginning or in the foreground, or something in the foreground. To me, something was missing. Of course, when I taped this thing off, I only probably taped off the top a little bit better than a third. Yeah, it's scary. And then, yeah, it's scary. Or go to with an actual transfer of an image. And this would be a test on a canvas to show them how to do it. But then transfer an image to the base. But Rinske, can I just say, this technique, and I started to talk about this, I found myself finger painting like you. I suffer from blank canvas syndrome. I've already got it predetermined in my head what it's supposed to look like before I even put one drop of anything on it. And I've already set myself up to fail. And doing this technique, dropping it on, taking my fingers and moving it back and forth, loosened me up, makes it more of, yes, and it's a real syndrome. Blank canvas syndrome is a real syndrome. You've heard it from Rinske, guys. It is an actual syndrome. I set myself up for failure before I even start. And pouring the color down and using my fingers is more of an intuitive painting. And I think intuitive painting is going to be much healthier for me. A quick little on-camera thing. And I met this artist yesterday by the name of Dolores Gray. She teaches at the Sharon Art Studio in San Francisco. She's got her own website. She does a lot of assemblage. But what she said, yes, you're right. You feel more connected to the surface. The other tip she gave me yesterday, and this is for everybody, her students asked her what was her favorite grade to teach, because she's taught everything from kindergarten to college. She said 4th grade, because 4th grade, they're old enough to be able to reason with, right? But their color box, their creative box, their everything box is this huge. It's beyond the camera. It's huge. No one's told them they can't do something. So what her piece of advice to me, and I'm passing it to you guys, remember what it was like when you were a 4th grader. And you just, yeah, see, she prepped it with transparent gesso. I'm going to tell Judy Sand, because she didn't think you prepped it with anything. Yeah, she's so wonderful. I love Rinske, sweetheart. But she basically said, think like a 4th grader. Get out of that thing of how it has to look, right? Get over it, okay? So we're going to experiment with mixing some of this Ceylon cinnamon. I've got my liquid here mixed up with basically 5 ounces of water and 1 teaspoon of the Vivid Art fluid. Get this to where I don't drop it on the canvas. And I'm just going to mix a little bit of this because my mountains are a little bit, the nutmeg really came out on the top. And so a little Ceylon cinnamon. Yeah, their head is not too full, but it's full enough to be excited about learning, right, Evelyn? And I remember, I think fourth grade when I was even asked, I think that's my favorite grade when I went to school. So think like a fourth grader is the new motto. Figure paint, yeah, and quit, because, oh, look at how pretty that color is going to be. That'll be really gorgeous. Oh my goodness, is he already 3 now, Rinske? Oh, Hiram, it seems like yesterday you just had your baby. Oh, honey, I'm so happy for you. I am so happy. So again, back to this is still wet, but this is dry. So when you're doing watercolors, you paint a petal, skip a petal, paint a petal. So the same thing, I've painted a petal, we're skipping the petal. We're just gonna add a little more warmth with the Ceylon cinnamon, and I might as well take this fun little piece of tape off. Now, one thing I did, Rinske, that was different from you is I laid down some interferences on the canvas first. And what's strange is it kind of puts this green cast. If you look at it sideways, that's the actual interference creating that green cast. But it's not, it's just the mineral putting that on there. But I want that Ceylon cinnamon over my little horizon line. And I put interference gold here on the horizon line to just kind of soften what I'm doing. I love the feel of this watercolor brush, much easier to work with. But as Rinske taught us to, yeah, it's because it's got interference red and violet in there. At the side, it looks green. But face on, I put red and violet and interference gold. I wanted gold right on the horizon line. See, now my fingers gives it a little bit too much of a vein there. I feel like the master's in the room, and oh my goodness, I got to make my teacher happy. I don't know how you heard about it. Hopefully somebody told you. My attempt at Rinske Douna's effect. Been talking about you all week, girl. But definitely inspired me. And if you haven't heard, we're shutting down the Fresno operation somewhere right after Halloween, Rinske. I'll still have my purely pigments and my interferences, but I'm going to go more into teaching. The plan was to do this, oh my goodness. How many years ago was that? At the end of 21. And I had this gentleman who'd been with the family for years. His mom's been working with me for years. He came back to work for me. Really brilliant young man. And they had a Thanksgiving dinner at his house. 6 days later, he died. And all of a sudden, all of our worlds were in a tailspin. And, what a great coincidence. Oh, sweetheart, so glad to see you. You know, people ask me about you all the time, and I remember our couple chats on Messenger. And one thing I've said about you is what you see is what you get. She really is the same human being on Messenger visiting with you as she is on camera. And I can't say that about every YouTube artist that I've met, because many of them I've had Messenger calls and they want to know how to use my product. But Rinske is really a sweetheart, down to earth, and what you see is what you get. And Rinske, you're constantly inspiring all of us by changing and modifying what you're doing, you know, keeping us on our toes. I actually have taken a couple of those classes. I'm dying to do the botanical and those big blooms that you did. I took both those classes. But I just recently moved after 19 years, and I've only unpacked about 10% of my stuff, so I don't even know where half everything is. I'm kind of liking what happened with that brown. That doesn't make me mad at all. And because this is a live, we're going to have to dry it. We don't have the benefit of saying, hey, I'll be back in 20 minutes and we'll play with the next section, right? Rinska, thank you for saying that, honey, but you have contributed so much to the art community and inspired so many of us. Thank you back for all that you do, honey. We love you. And by the way, we'll do a blatant advertising. If you guys have never subscribed or watched Rinske Douna, it's Rinske Douna. You need to go subscribe and watch her, girlfriends and boyfriends, please. She's amazing. First, I know this is not dry yet, but one fact, when you go to the watercolor class, I've gone to Society of Decorative Painters classes. They're 7-hour watercolor classes. And you're going to hear the blow dryers from all over the hall. What they do is they paint a section, dry a section, paint a section, dry a section. And the way to tell if it's dry, here's another test, not with your fingers. Your fingers will give you a false reading. You can touch it with your fingers and say, oh, I think it's dry. If the paint is cool, which this is on the back of your hand, then you know it's still wet. So I thought you guys should know that little tip. When you completely blow dry something, sorry, I got to put another glove on. Use the back of your hand to test to see if it's dry. Your fingertip will give you a false read. It's just what we learned in those watercolor classes, 7 hours worth of classes. And we were already taking images that had been transferred, like that cone flower and the butterfly I just showed you. So they weren't drawing. We spent 7 hours just learning the painting techniques. And there's a lot to learn. Sorry, I'm trying to get my glove and my thingy back on, but I just thought it was important that you know it's the back of the hand, not your fingertip, that's going to tell you it's dry. For the sake of time, because we're already at 49 minutes, I'm probably going to push it. I might get another little volcano bloom like I did on the last one, but I'm liking that little bit of warmth that the Ceylon cinnamon gave us across that tape line, that horizon line. Now, I don't have much. The Pod Padarasha actually dried up in the cup. I'm going to take a little bit of water here. Let's see if I can find my paintbrush. Here we go. Take a little bit of water and see if this doesn't reconstitute for me. Oh, yes, it does. Look at that. So it's good to the last drop. That's Vivid Art Fluid, 1 teaspoon to 4 to 5 ounces of water, right? Mixed with the primary elements. And because it's the primary elements, you're going to get that reawakening effect, okay? Where when we did the test on the test canvas, it didn't reawaken because purely pigments, that's archival color, it's not going to do it. Primary elements moves. Some people don't like it. Personally, I love what the primary elements does, especially for watercolor effects. That's what we make our twinkling H2Os out of. It's food grade gum arabic and the primary elements. So there's a little bit of brown left on that brush, so I'm not really getting the peach that I was hoping for. I think I'm going to have to make another little itty bitty batch of the Padparacha. I really want that peach. So here's the, thank you guys, whatever you guys are saying about thumbs up and supporting, and you're right, watching all the videos, doing this apart, it really, really helps. I'm going to take another smidge, the 1/32 of the spoon, just a little bit. I don't even need a whole 1/32, just a tiny bit of the Padparacha in the cup. Remember, this stuff is going to last you generations from now. The primary elements dry paint with minerals, the whole reason why we made them this way is so you don't have any kind of shelf life issue. Hello, Jennifer B. How you doing? So now let's add a little bit of our Vivid Art Fluid mix. Because it brought back that Ceylon cinnamon, that back brown again. I got to get that peach back. Whoops. Looks like it wanted to take 2 spoons to measure that one. If I needed a whole teaspoon, I could use a teaspoon, but this is only a 1/4 teaspoon. So we're just going to add another little oopsie-doopsie to that. Mix up some of my Padparacha, which, by the way, Padparacha, I know it's a mouthful, is the actual name of a sapphire that is this color. Look how pretty that is. There's a sapphire that is that color. Yes, they are listed on Amazon. I probably should go in and find the link again. Look for 5-piece measuring spoon. It goes from a 1/4 teaspoon down to a 64th of a teaspoon. That's the set. The square ones, I don't know why they're $4 more. Personally, I like the oval-shaped spoon, and they're only $5.99. Not bad at all. Now, this mix that I'm doing is probably a little bit stronger than the original one, right? Because I just used the 1/32 to 1/4 teaspoon of my fluid mix. And now I can get in here and kind of accentuate my hills, baby, my hills. I think this needs to go up or down, but it looks a little bit boring just kind of going out straight. I'll have to practice with creating my mountains. Rinska's a little bit more practice at, because she's more practiced at intuitive painting, period. Really allowing her art to flow naturally and not getting hung up on what it's going to look like, because blank canvas syndrome is a real thing. Patty Simmons last week said, Leslie, you're so brave because you're doing this right on camera during the live and testing it right in front of us. It's a real thing, guys. It's a real thing. Yeah, Rinska's like saying, draw like a child. Actually, my very first one looked like 2 camel humps, but I thought, well, that's something I might draw in 3rd grade. But she's right. But see how the just adding a little more accent of color is bringing them up? This is your scheme. This is your, thank you. Yeah, but you know, Rinska says I'm brave doing lives. Yes, but then that's the quickest way for me to actually teach color mixing. I'm trying to teach people to also how to make their own colors and feel comfortable doing it. Now, I love what I did for the base here. We got that, I brought that peach. It's very subtle, but I brought the peach all the way down to the base. What we didn't do was actually finish the top. And I'm going to flip this around because it looks like the sky is still waiting for something, right? It's got the interference on there. And so I'm not going to be able to go around to the other end of the table to do this. Now I could go peach. Trying to think about what color I want. I don't want blue sky. I could go really dark and it would make those violet mountains pop up. Purple is complemented with yellows, but we have a lot of yellow in there. I mean, I could go with the peach, so it looks like it's, yeah, soft yellow. That's kind of where that peach is going anyway. That peach, but maybe add a little more yellow to it. That's a really good idea. You know, the spicy apricot has a tiny bit more yellow to it. I think she's right, because yellow, of course, is going to accentuate the violet. And then if I ever wanted to go behind her and just put shadows, I could. But in the meantime, the sky looks incomplete. And we do have a lot of peach. We got a lot of orange. Looks like I missed a spot here. Yay. Not that I can't do something about it later. So let's, oh, you know what color would be fabulous, but I don't think I have it near me. Let me see if I can find it on the shelf. Color called Pineapple Crush. That would be a beautiful yellow to put up there. I grabbed it. That's pixie. You know what? Pixie dust might work. Pineapple Crush is a great color, but I also have some pixie dust here. Now let's see what we've got. I grabbed 2 more yellows off the shelf. I know I don't have my lapel mic on, and we haven't unpacked it yet. I still have unpacked only like 10% of what I own. But let's see what colors we got here that I grabbed. Pineapple Crush. And then there's a color called Pixie Dust. Now, when we made that dragonfly set, it was basically interferences with just a drop of color in them. They could have even been put under the bling-it line, but because there was color in it, we couldn't sell it as a bling-it. So I'm actually going to try the Pixie Dust closest to here. Probably should go the other way around. Put the Pineapple Crush a slightly darker yellow and finish up with the Pixie Dust in the sky. We don't have a lot of room to do this, but we have some room to do this. So again, we're going to make 2 more mixes. This is a brand new jar of Pixie Dust. Still has the lid on it. It has a little bit of a warmth to the yellow. It's not like a high yellow. There's a little bit of warmth to it, meaning there might be a tad of red in there that makes it that way. Oh, the spoon is wet. Gosh darn it. What are we going to do now? Tap really hard. Put it in with my finger. Yep. And rinse this spoon out. That's the best I can do. I grabbed the wrong spoon for the dry stuff. I need a spoon that I can put dry stuff in with. Like my smidge, my smidgen, or my pinch. So here's some more of that Pixie Dust, just so we have it. Here is some of the Pineapple Crush. She's right, because yellow complements violet. Rinske had suggested a soft yellow. Complement on the cross of the color wheel. Your purple is made with red and blue, and you can always find the complement is the other primary color not used to make that secondary color. So red and blue makes purple, which means your complement is yellow. So let's see what happens when I add just a little dribble drabble. Yes, she is, Victoria. Rinska's here. Making sure her student's doing a good job. Now, in theory, the darker yellow should go behind the purple and then soften up to the sky. Depends on if your sky gets lighter as it goes towards the foreground, or if your sky gets lighter as it goes up into the sky. I'm going to start with a clean brush here. I've been using more product. I think it's a what kind of thing? Oh, look how pretty that pineapple crush is. But we're going to start with the pixie dust. The pixie dust is basically 90% interference with just like I took a sugar cube and added just a drop of color to it. So there is the pixie dust, which is not bad. Very subtle, very light, very sparkly, right? What are we going to do where this purple bled in? Somehow we rubbed out, I don't know how this got here, that might be the interference. Somehow we've got a little bit of violet there. We're just going to have to see what happens when the yellow mixes with it, because if I wet it, then it's all going to bleed down, and we don't want to do that. So I'm going to take a little bit of this pineapple crush, which is a little bit brighter. Lay some in there. And then we'll go back to the pixie dust with a clean brush and rinse this out. Because that's really bright. That pixie dust is not nearly as bright as the pineapple crush. But I think what I'm going to do is that's enough pineapple crush on there. I'm going to make up a little tiny bit more of pixie dust and let that soften it out for us. Let's get that softer. I'm only making a tiny bit at a time. Hey, Michael, how you doing this morning? Nice to see you, sir. I saw you entered the secret phrase. We announced the winner this morning is Linda Young. It'll be on the website, but we announced the $400 shopping spree winner. I called her this morning. Yeah, this pixie dust is really delicate. See how delicate of a yellow that is. So we're just going to let this kind of blend in with the risk is that periwinkle has enough blue. We do not want to make green. So I'm feeling like that's a little bit too bright of a color. So what am I going to do with that? Well, I'm going to blot it. Let's blot out some of that pineapple crush. See, you could, that's a watercolor trick too. We would do skies and then blot with toilet paper so you get that model effect, right? It gives you kind of a modeling effect. Then I can go back over with this beautiful pixie dust I just mixed up. God, I hope there's not pineapple crush still left on my brush. And we've softened out that yellow just a little bit. There's a little pop of that brighter yellow, but it doesn't need to be so much in your face that it takes away from what we're doing, because that bottom half of the canvas is really soft. I still think that there's quite a difference between that peach on the bottom and the yellow on the top. So where did we put, here's the Pod Parasha. That's that color we used on the bottom, even though this is a very strong version of it. So I'm going to wet my brush, intentionally use a very wet brush, pick up a tiny bit of the Pod Parasha and incorporate just some of the peach into this. Just so it's reflecting some of the peach from below, right? This is your peach. You can always change your mind. You can always blot out the color. You can always paint more. And this little bit of peach, ooh, look at that. That's just kind of reflecting a little bit more of what's on our base. Now, I'm going to have to smooth this out. This is when I need one of those big fluffy brushes that Rinske uses. This will work. I'm just going to kind of smooth it out with a real soft brush. and leave it at that for my sky. So we got a little bit of this yellow popping behind the hills, but still get that peachy tone in there. I know I'm overworking it, guys, but hey, the master's in the room, right? She's watching me. I love how that peach, uh-oh, looks like I touched that peach mountain. I hope we didn't wake up this color right here. And of course, I could fiddle with this thing for an hour after we get off the camera. But I think this is good for now. This is not a bad place to stop. Let me get my brushes rinsed out. Get that camera turned over. And get my jar buttoned up. Yeah, she's right. The colors can be super forgiving when you're going wet on wet, you know. And I don't know, Rinske, she posts her videos every Saturday morning, and then I get this beautiful email reminding me of what that day's post is. So make sure you guys sign up for her. We're so honored that you were here. I'm going to flip this puppy around and just get an idea about how my piece turned out today. I kind of like that little bit of the peach streak across my yellow. So it's almost reflecting the peach from below. Yeah, I've seen Rinske take raw canvas and then staple it on her canvas. I'm not sure if she's doing that in every one of them, but in one of the intros, she showed us how she actually takes the canvas and staples it, the raw canvas, and staples it to her frame. One day I'll be doing that too. Yep. Guys, I really appreciate you showing up today. Thank you so much. And Rinske, it was a pleasure having you here, honey. Actually, I planned it all along. I asked her to come in at the right time. I wish I could say that, but I didn't. Like she said, it was serendipitous. My live just popped up as she was scrolling through YouTube. So once again, and if you scroll back to the beginning of the video, the 10 winner prizes from the, thank you, Rinske. I really enjoyed having you here, honey. If you scroll back to the beginning, you're going to get the winners so far. We picked 11 names, but there could be a duplicate because Linda Young won the grand prize. So it's possible I'm going to have Luna redraw her name. So there'll be 5 more names drawn other than the people that were the $50 winners for the channel prize winner. Everybody that submitted the secret phrase, you're getting a $15 store credit. Someone just messaged me today and asked me about the store credits and how it works. It's not a coupon code thing. When you log in into your dashboard, you're going to see something that says store credit and how much we owe you. The next place you see store credit will be on the final page of checking out. And it's right there where you'll see the club member discount or any kind of discount. Of course, you know, we don't really do coupon codes except the affiliate codes that our YouTube affiliates have. And then you'll see store credit. You click the box and say how much you want to spend. You might have $150 in there and you're only going to spend $50, okay? So the store credits are there. As far as the shutdown, we're trying to get Building 108 done wrapped up completely by October 31st. And because we're going to start the bulk packing a few days before we start counting down to Halloween, as we're running out, we're not going to make another batch of something to make a set. We'll just start bulk packing the other colors that are in that set. And instead of in the 30 ml jar, they'll come in the 60 ml jars. And you'll get a price discount. It's like paying for 1.5 jars. And then all of the mineral systems, which I have used for the past 30 years to add a little pinch of something here and here to make something a little bit prettier, we're bulk packing them all out in the four ounce jars, which is going to be very exciting for people that want them. I want to thank you guys for joining me, and I really appreciate you putting up with what limited toys I have to play with in my lives right now. Because like I said, we just moved, and if I could show you the garage, it's 90% boxes. It's all boxes. Lots of stuff that's come back from trade shows. Penny, I know you're here. I'm trying to get Patty Simmons to come. If now you and your daughter want to come and help play on a weekday or a weekend, we can certainly start zipping open boxes and looking what's inside of them. I have boxes that come back from trade shows that just say paint, hobby show, whatever on them, right? And I need to unpack them. A lot of them are just going to be other paints they're going to have to find a home, which means some of you guys will be going home with a bunch of stuff. I can't keep it all. One little old lady can't use all this paint. So thank you for joining me. I love you guys. I will see you Tuesday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And have a great Saturday. Hugs and kisses. Bye.